All right, here we are again for the Black Limited Set Review. We're also, once again, talking about Rivals of Ixalan. We are in just at the tail end of preview season. So, we hope that this sort of like pre-release primer sort of like serves as a really good intro to the set, just so that you guys can be as prepared as possible moving into pre-release. So yeah, we are going to be assigning letter grades to all these fine cards. So let's start with Sadistic Sky Marcher. This is a 3 CMC card. This is 1 black and 2 colorless. This is a vampire soldier with 2 power, 2 toughness. As an additional cost to cast Sadistic Sky Marcher, reveal a vampire card from your hand or pay 1 extra colorless. It has flying and lifelink as its keywords. This is a pretty solid way to fill out your creature base if you are choosing to play vampires. I would probably rate this as a B or a B+. What do you guys think?
I think a solid B+. It's basically a Vampire Nighthawk. It's just missing the Death Touch keyword there and 1 toughness. So again, flying is something I always love. You're always going to have a vampire to reveal if you're going with that tribal anyways, especially early on. So a 3-mana 2/2 flying lifelink, solid card.
Yep. No, going vampires, I will always be hoping to open one of these in one of my packs, or and if I do, I'll always be playing it in vampires.
It might even be a pack one, pick one, to be honest.
True. So it's like you really wanted to force vampires.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, right on. So like, let's just keep going here.
Yeah,
so
A- even.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
So next up we have Reaver Ambush. This is a 3-mana, 1 black and 2 colorless. This is an instant. Exile target creature with power 3 or less. Isn't this? I completely. Oh, okay. So it's not destroy like the original Ixalan card of the same cost and same power caveat. It's just
better.
exile instead. It is better. So yeah, this is something that you want to if you have a really hot target. That you just simply that you don't want to go to your opponent's graveyard, just play this card. Probably B+ to an A-.
I would give it a B-. Power 3 or less to me is always going to be a downfall. Yes, there's a lot of targets for it, but you're paying 3 mana. I want to see this thing get rid of something a little more terrifying than something with power 3 or less. But if they have flyers, if they have something with evasion, unblockable, whatever, this is a good card to have.
There's a lot of dinosaurs that have lower power than butts. Especially that one white dinosaur.
Look at the flavor of the artwork too, guys. It's pirates, like, basically about to, mess up, really, like, screw over this, like, merfolk. So I think this might be for, like, good against merfolk too, especially when you consider that there are a lot of low, sneaky river darters who are going to get through and are unblockable.
Yeah, and that 3/5 dino with enrage that we were heaping praise on earlier, this would completely deal with that.
Yeah, the only issue I have with this card is the 3 mana. Like, that is the only reason why I don't like it. It's still a good card though, but I would love to see this as a 2 mana card.
B for me.
Moving on, we have Mausoleum Harpy. This is a 5-mana, 1 black, 4 colorless creature Harpy. This is a 3/3 flyer. City's Blessing matters. Whenever another creature you control dies, if you have the City's Blessing, you put a +1/+1 counter on Mausoleum Harpy. Okay, so I guess this is good if you have a lot of sacrifice outlets. Like if the flip side of the Bloodfast. But like once again, yeah, like that legendary enchantment's kind of hard to flip if you really consider that you have to have like, what is it, 8 or less life?
I think it's 5 or less. Yeah, it's 5 or less.
Yeah.
There is also, I think it's a sorcery from Ixalan that lets you sack a creature or artifact and draw 2 cards.
Yes.
That would be really good with this, but so you already have to have the city's blessing. So uh, that's kind of hard to pull off. If your creatures are
Yeah.
dying and you're also trying to get the city's blessing,
You're not gonna get
yeah.
City's Blessing, like unless you're going, unless you're pushing treasure
Mm-hmm.
hard.
Yeah, and it is a harpy, so it doesn't have a tribe, so it could fit in a pirate deck that does generate treasure or some sort of mix with vampires and pirates or whatever you have going with your black. But like this being a 3/3 flyer, it's not a bad creature for 5 mana. It's a bomb that I would play. You know, when people think of bombs, they usually think of high power, high toughness creatures, but you have to remember when it comes to flyers, you're paying for the flying. So a 3/3 flyer is pretty good.
I have a question about Ascend, and if your opponent gets the City's Blessing before you, can you still get the City's Blessing?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. That changes things a little bit.
Mm.
I would probably give this a C plus. Just, you know, I know what you said, Desmond, about it being a bomb, but I don't consider this a bomb. I don't like, because if you play this, there's still, just like the actual combat trick that we just reviewed, it's still vulnerable to a lot of removal. Yeah, and it's expensive to cast, and I don't know if there's any way of cheating a creature like this onto the battlefield, aside from treasure. I don't know.
That's fair.
It's gonna feel bad to lose to this, but I wouldn't put it. I don't know if I'd. I don't even know if I'd put it in my deck.
I would definitely put it in with vampires. Like if you're having a bunch of 1/1 token generation, then
Fair enough. Fair enough.
once you have the ascension there, losing some tokens is going to be super beneficial. And then at that point, it can't be exiled by that thing, right? And the other like thing about that card that we saw with the exiling something power 3 or less, it is also a uncommon. So in a limited setting, you might not even run into it at all. So I wouldn't be too worried about losing it. It would suck if you do lose it, but hopefully you have other things on the board anyways, so you don't feel too bad about it.
So I guess this is just a card that will draw aggro.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving on, we have Oathsworn Vampire. This is a 2 CMC, 1 black, 1 colorless vampire knight. It's going to enter the battlefield tapped. It's a 2/2, and you may cast Oathsworn Vampire from your graveyard if you gained life this turn. So like this supports the cause. Actually supports the like harpy, right?
A little bit, yeah.
It enters the battlefield tapped. That's a little bit of a downside, but this is sort of like a zombie that we would even see from like Shadows over Innistrad, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But of course, there is the caveat that you have to be gaining life in order to recast it from your graveyard.
Right.
And so you're likely going to want to play this on your second main phase after combat, obviously like with your like life linkers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you definitely can't cast it during your opponent's turn. It has to be one of your main phases. It doesn't have flash.
Exactly, yeah.
It's pretty gimmicky, but it's important if you are looking to gain the city's blessing. I would probably give this a C plus to a B minus.
C to C plus for me. 2 for 2. Bear.
It keeps coming back.
Yeah, I'll
give it a C plus.
I'll-
I'd
I'll-
probably play it if I got it, but
Yeah.
it's a C plus.
Just because of the requirement of gaining life.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on, we have Arterial Flow, and this is a 3 CMC sorcery, double black in its casting cost. Each opponent discards 2 cards. If you control a vampire, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This would be really excellent for Two-Headed Giant if you're doing that for your pre-release. That's 3 mana and it's 4 life from both of your opponents, and you're gonna gain only 2 though.
You're only getting 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your team collectively would gain 2, and they collectively lose 4.
Yeah, and they're also gonna be losing 4 cards. Like
Yeah, each of them would lose 2 cards, which is very good.
yeah. So
Yeah, as a Two-Headed Giant card, this is I'd probably put it close to
a bomb.
Yeah, it's like an
Yeah.
A, almost an A plus because of how devastating that can be. But it's only okay in a normal limited environment, because it's very, you have to have a vampire. I would love to play this in control, but in control you're probably not running vampires, so I don't really like it too much.
So probably C plus to B minus again.
C plus or a B minus in normal limited, like almost an A in two-headed giant.
I gotta say, I love the art on this one. You got Sprankle draining Jeremy Hambley of his lifeblood. Very, very topical of WotC here. Excellent, great flavor. The lore of magic drama, very, very flavorful. But yes, very good for two-headed giant, A, and then C plus to B minus everywhere else.
Yeah, I like how it it actually references saltiness in the flavor text. Something in the salty tang of it, the spice of rebellion. Yes, awesome. All right, yeah. Moving on, we have Golden Demise. This is a 3 mana, double black, 1 colorless sorcery. This is once again a City's Blessing Matters card. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. If you have the City's Blessing, instead, only creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn. So you're definitely going to want to cast this if you have City's Blessing. I don't, like, unless it was like a state of emergency and you were losing board control and you had to wipe the board, play it. Yeah. I mean, especially if you have vampires that can recur, right? If you gain life later.
Exactly.
So, it's a really cheap way of wiping the board.
I would like to say that in a token deck, if you had that Harpy out and you were, you had a bunch of tokens, Golden Demise is actually an amazing card, because all your creatures are going to die, and this thing is going to get super huge.
Yeah, because the Harpy is 3/3, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to stay alive, and it's going to get quite a buff. That's not too bad.
Good combo.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, you need the City's Blessing in order for that effect to happen.
Yeah, so you had to wait till you have a lot of tokens out and or lands, etc.
Is that a May ability? Once you have City's Blessing, or does it only target your opponent's creatures once you have City's Blessing?
All creatures get -2/-2 till end of turn. If you have City's Blessing, only your creatures, your opponent's control.
So this if you have a lot of tokens out, that's gonna screw with your plan to make the Harpy huge.
Yeah,
because
you can actually get the Harpy to.
You might have City's Blessing, so.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, it's not so bad that you're not losing your creatures, but you lose that sick combo that you could pull off. Yeah. So you actually can pull off that combo with that card, I guess.
True. Yeah. So that kind of changes things.
Yeah.
I'm probably just gonna give it a solid B.
I give it a B or a B minus. Yeah.
Board wipe is pretty good.
It's a situational board wipe.
Situational, yeah. It's good. I wouldn't play it against dinosaurs.
Yeah, no.
But if I'm playing somebody that has like a lot of low to the ground pirates, a lot of those unblockable merfolk, low to the ground merfolk with it before they get their counters out on them, or playing against vampires,
even pirates, to be honest. For a couple of those, the 1/4 pirate, but there's a lot of pirates that have low toughness. In a mirror match, it's a great card.
Yeah. So against dinosaurs, I would give it a C minus. Maybe even a D plus, but everything else against depends on what you're playing. I'd make it a sideboard card for sure.
Yeah, I'd say it's pure garbage against dinosaurs. You don't want to play that against dinosaurs, but against most of the other tribes, and vampires. Like it'll wipe a lot of vampires.
Yeah, the flavor of the card suggests that it's an anti-vampire card, which is strange because I thought Vraska was like allied with the vampires, so I might be wrong.
No, she was a pirate, and then some of the vampires left to join Vraska.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
And some of the vampire cards in the Planeswalker deck are like mutinous conquistador or whatever, something like that.
Cool. I bet this card would look good foiled. We'll see. Moving on, we have Pitiless Plunderer. It's 4 mana. 1 black and 3 colorless. It's a human pirate. It has a 1/4. It's kind of the exact same body as the Sailor of Means. Whenever another creature you control dies, you get a treasure. That's not too bad. This is what you would combo with Golden Demise.
Yeah, this is actually, it's funny.
On flavor.
It's a pirate. However, I wouldn't play this in a pirate deck. I'd probably play it in a vampire deck where you have those tokens, right? Because you're going to gain a lot of treasure that way. You can cast your big creatures or whatever you have with all that mana. If you have some sort of like what's that one enchantment from Ixalan, winning with treasure?
Oh, Revel in Riches.
Yeah, that's a great card with this.
True.
But yeah, with vampires, you're gonna get these treasures, so it'll help you stay afloat if you need that ascend. Like if you're losing a bunch of creatures, you're gaining all these treasures, so you're actually effectively losing nothing.
Right on. Moving on, we have Ravenous Chupacabra. This is a 4 mana, double black, and its casting cost. It's a beast horror. It's a 2/2 bear. When Ravenous Chupacabra enters the battlefield, destroy target creature on opponent controls.
I like it. I like this card, to be honest.
Yeah, I do too. The double black is sort of making me iffy about it, but
yeah.
if you're already going into those colors, it should be okay.
Well, as a removal with a body, I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's
It's missing a tribe, but other than that, yeah, it's a great card.
it's good for bouncing too. It seems like it would be extremely useful in the sort of like in a mid-rangey style of play. Pretty good. Its double black casting cost is what's like it's preventing me from giving it a really high grade. Probably a B to a B plus though.
B minus or a B, because of that 2 black, it's gonna be hard to cast.
Small body as well.
It's a small body, destroys a creature. That's fantastic, but it can be hard to play. So yeah, we'll go with a B. I'll give it a B.
B. I agree.
Next up, we have Forerunner of the Coalition. This is a 3 CMC, 1 black, and 2 colorless in its casting cost. A human pirate, 2/2. When Forerunner of the Coalition enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a pirate card, reveal it, then shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. So once again, it tutors just like the Vampire Forerunner. Whenever another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. This is pretty good for a 2-headed giant, and I guess just for like regular, like, limited one-on-one games.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Intuitive Giant, that life loss thing is always going to be really good. Whenever it says each opponent, it makes me salivate thinking about playing Intuitive Giant.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's still a great card. You're probably playing a lot of pirates. There's so many low-cost pirates that you're going to be able to effectively use that second ability. Being able to search your library for a pirate as well, that's always good. Like, these Forerunners are great for tutoring some big tribal creature you need to get out.
Oh, imagine if you were just lucky enough to open in your pre-release packs a hostage taker.
A hostage
and
taker,
you
yeah.
need it immediately. You would be able to play it probably on turn 3 if you did have 1 treasure, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. You could also get that, what's her name? The red legendary.
Lannery Storm.
Captain Lannery Storm.
That's something I would love to
absolutely.
tutor.
Awesome. So
Haste, yeah.
gonna rate this at B+.
B+, I'll give it that.
Next up we have Impale. Impale is a 4 mana double black, 2 colorless sorcery speed.
This card makes me laugh.
Destroy target creature.
There's a strictly better card that we just talked about. It's a creature. It's a 2/2 body that has that ability on it. So you're
Chupacabra.
Yeah, you're getting the same mana cost, but you're getting less out of it.
Yeah.
It's a sorcery, so the creature is, you play it at a sorcery speed, so there's no reason to play that over the Chupacabra. They're both common, right? Or is Chupacabra uncommon?
Chupacabra is uncommon.
Is uncommon. So I guess that's the only downside. You're not going to open so many Chupacabras, but if you have the choice, don't play Impale. Play the
Yeah.
Chupacabra if you have it.
The sorcery speed makes it really shitty.
Mm-hmm.
Flat C.
Yeah, I'd give it a C. I'd bump it down to D if you have a Chupacabra.
True. Yeah.
Or a Walk the Plank.
Or Walk the Plank, yeah.
Sorcery speed, instead of just 2 black, 2 colorless, it's just 2 black.
Yeah.
I'd give it a C-. I don't like this card.
Next up, we have Grasping Scoundrel. This is a 1 black human pirate. It's a 1/1, and it's going to get an extra +1 power as long as it's attacking. So once again, this is like for a really really fast aggro deck. good pirate support, and it's just going to enable raid triggers. So there's nothing really that special about this. I'd just probably give it C plus to a B minus.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a C plus, nothing more than that, because it's going to die really fast. You're getting a 2-1 for 1, which is great, but really early on it's going to be stop dead. You're not going to be able to swing with it unless you want it to swing just for that raid trigger, and then it's gone because it's going to die.
Yeah, so like this is good to play turn 1, attack with it just before that you play that blue 2 CMC flyer with the raid trigger that makes it a 3/3. Right?
I can't remember now, actually, but if that is the case, then yeah, definitely that's a good card for that.
Yep. C plus. Yep.
Yeah. So next up we have Dark Inquiry. This is a 3 CMC, 1 black and 2 colorless in its casting cost. It's a sorcery speed. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. It's sort of like Duress, but it's not Duress.
Yeah, it says non-land. That's the only benefit to this. It costs a lot more. It's 3 mana. I'd only ever sideboard this in if someone had a card that I needed to get rid of. It's not very good. 3 mana is just way too much for a discard spell. Yeah, just use it if you know that your opponent has a card that you don't want to see on the battlefield.
Like a really strong dinosaur bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Or a hostage taker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or some removal.
Yeah, like if your opponent's playing those tutor creatures, then you know when to play that, right? Because you're going to see whatever they pick.
Yeah.
So
True.
D plus for this though.
I'm not gonna rate it that low because I think it's really excellent sideboard tech, and I think this might make the difference between you losing in 2 or possibly getting in that like 3rd win.
Okay.
I'll give it a C minus, no more than that. to be honest.
Yeah, same. Next up we have Canal Monitor. That's a really weird looking wizard. It looks like some kind of a walrus. Anyway, it's a 5 mana, 1 black, 4 colorless. It's a lizard with a
Whole lot of flavor text.
a whole lot of flavor text. It's a 5/3 though.
I don't care for this card at all. It's not even a dinosaur. It's black, so of course it's not going to be. I would probably never play this.
Yeah, I wouldn't play it either.
It seems.
F.
Yeah, and F.
Seems like when they were designing the set, they were like, "Oh, these primals are going to be cool, one in every color," and then they started designing dinosaurs for all the other colors, and then they were like, "Wait, nah, we'll make the snake a snake, and then we'll make this a lizard." I don't know. I don't like the card either. I wouldn't play it in any deck.
I think this is the first F that we've given.
Yep.
Like we probably maybe need to give some more of those out.
Probably.
But yeah, this is don't play this card. It's a dreg. All right, moving on. We have Vampire Revenant. It's a 4 mana, 1 black and 3 colorless. It's a flying vampire spirit. It's a 3/1. Huh.
I love the artwork.
I hate
do.
the card.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't play this. The fact that it's a 3/1, it's just not good enough for me.
D minus.
Yeah.
I'll give it a D minus.
That's a pretty good grade. Next up, we have Recover. It's a 3 mana, 1 black, 2 colorless sorcery. It's just recursion tech. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and you're going to draw a card. If you have a lot of sacrifice stuff, great, but still, it's taking up one of your non-creature spell slots. Don't play it unless you have to.
This is a sideboard card for me. Like, if you're facing control, this is a good card. Otherwise, yeah, I would never mainboard that.
C minus.
I give it a C minus.
Yeah.
Maybe even a D plus,
Yeah.
but we'll go with C minus.
Next up, we have Voracious Vampire. 1 black and 2 colorless. It's a vampire knight creature. A 2/2 menace. And when it enters the battlefield, target vampire you control gets +1/+1 and gains menace until end of turn. Seems like filler. The menace keyword is pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to give one of your other vampires +1/+1 and menace until end of turn.
What's its power?
2/2.
2/2 for 3 isn't bad when it has the menace keyword.
Yeah.
I think that it is definitely a filler card, but it's a decent fit into the deck if you're playing vampires. So I'd be happy to play it if I had to pick it.
I like the artwork too.
Artwork's really
Yeah.
cool.
All right. Next up, we have Fathom Fleet Border. This is a 3 mana, 1 black and 2 colorless. It's an orc pirate. It's a 3/3 for 3. When Fathom Fleet Border enters the battlefield, you lose 2 life unless you control another pirate. Interesting. So obviously you're not going to play it if you're not heavily into the pirate tribe. I think this is pretty solid.
In a pirate deck, it's basically just a vanilla 3/3 for 3.
Yeah.
I like the artwork a lot. I hope we see more orcs eventually in other sets because we barely have any orcs really. So I think it's a neat card, just because the artwork alone. Otherwise, it's a 3/3 vanilla. So
B?
it's decent. I'll give it a B minus. You know, it's just an orc pirate. That's all it is.
Yeah. Moving on, we have Gruesome Fate. It's a 3 mana, 1 black and 2 colorless sorcery. Each opponent loses 1 life for each creature you control.
That
Wow.
card, yeah, that can be a huge bomb when you're playing white-black tokens.
Ooh. 2-headed giant.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
This is a bomb. This is
Into
an
a giant, that's a
absolute
killer
bomb.
card. That's
Yeah.
That wins you the game.
gonna cause lethal.
A minus,
Yeah, I give it an A minus. I give
just
it.
because of sorcery speed.
Yeah, you have to be playing vampires for this to work, basically.
In vampire tokens, I give it an A.
Yeah. Conditional A.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Artwork is also pretty good. All right. Next up, we have Dinosaur Hunter. Turok, Dinosaur Hunter. It's a 2 CMC, 1 black, 1 colorless. It's a human pirate. It's a 2/2. So a 2/2 for 2. Whenever Dinosaur Hunter deals combat damage to a dinosaur, destroy that creature. Awesome. This is a pretty good blocker, a good way to just like shut out and probably prevent, prevent them from like swinging in with dinos, and it's also probably good for a mid to a late game drop, almost like a aha. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's basically a you shall not pass card.
Yeah.
Unless you have trample, then maybe that will still hurt. But
And unless they have one of those absurd enrage triggers that'll just deal 2 damage to this thing.
yeah.
I'm not sure how much I like the card. It's going to be dying every single time you block with it. Of course, you can trade with something for a lot higher for 2 mana. I think flavor-wise, it would have been great with like protection from dinos.
True.
But you know, I'll put it in. I'll put it in a sideboard against dinosaurs.
It's situational death touch. So
Yeah. It's good against like this would interact well with like Hunt the Weak, because like think about it, like if they put a +1/+1 counter on a creature and then they have it fight this, they're not going to do that. They're going to probably choose some other creature. So it almost has protection from those situational sorcery speed style combat trick things.
And you know what? I really want to see in standard. I want to see there be like a Jund mid-range deck, like green, black, red.
Yeah.
And this is a card I'd probably throw in the sideboard, maybe if dinosaurs become prominent in standard. With some sort of fight mechanic, because then it's just a kill spell.
True.
So, especially if you're playing green, black, red, and you'll see like the green, black enchantment that returns creatures and stuff.
Yeah.
This is a pretty great card in that respect, but most of the time it's very situational death touch. So I give it a C plus.
Same.
See,
All right, moving on. We have Dusk Charger. This is pretty sure this is a reprint.
no, it's got to send.
Oh, true enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind. It just seems like your typical like nightmare style card. 4 mana, 1 black, 3 colorless. It's a horse with Ascend. It's a 3/3. It's gonna so it'll enter as a 5/5 if you have 10 or more, or rather, you'll get that buff once you actually get the City's Blessing. I think this is pretty good.
It's a possible 5/5 for 4. So
Yeah.
that's one of the nicer ascends that we've seen. It's not bad. I might play it if I were going white black weenies. Like that could definitely be a bomb in that deck.
Very true. Or even if you wanted to fit it into a Grixis or a,
Grixis treasure deck.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty good card. I'm gonna give it a B.
Yeah, I'll give it a B.
B minus. I'd give it a B if it had trample.
A
or
B is
something
B
like
is a
that.
little generous, but B or B minus, 100%.
Next up, we have Dusk Legion Zealot. This is a 2 mana, 1 black, 1 colorless vampire soldier, a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. I wish it was a 2/2, but yeah, I think it has card draw, and you're going to lose 1 life, but that's fine.
Losing life isn't a huge deal when it comes to vampires in the set.
Yeah. I'm going to say B-.
C plus.
I'll give it B-. I like the card draw. I love card draw.
Yeah, card draw is pretty important in limited.
Just don't like the 1/1.
Mhm.
But it's more of an upside to a card draw spell than it is a downside to a creature spell.
I think the more travel support that you open, the better. I mean,
absolutely.
it is printed at common, so you might get more than 2 or 3 if you're lucky. Yeah. Moving on, we have Moment of Craving. This is a 2 mana, 1 black, 1 colorless instant. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, and you gain 2 life. Wow. I like this card. This is going to kind of help out with that like white-black vampire sort of life gain tech. And this kind of speaks back to one of Desmond's earlier comments about the fact that if you have any sort of a whenever you gain life effect on one of your larger vampires, this is going to kind of like allow that effect to trigger twice. Because this will resolve before combat damage. That'll count as you gaining life. So I think this is pretty good, and like you can kill like a lot of stuff that has like two power. I think it's pretty good. I would probably rate this at B to a B+.
I would give it a B. Yeah, it can kill a lot of the low toughness fire, so it's decent.
And even like if you're against dinosaurs and you have weenie vampires, you throw this down, you can maybe trade with one of the dinosaurs, and get that off the board.
Yeah. So that was the last card in the commons uncommons for black. So next up, we are going to talk about red. So hope you guys watch that video.
Yeah.